What defines a sports car in 2026? The badge on the hood, the shape of the body, or the raw ability to bend physics without tearing itself apart? For decades, the global auto industry sold one familiar story. If you wanted sub-4-second acceleration, you needed a low-slung European performance machine, a brutal suspension, and a price tag designed to keep ordinary drivers out. But that hierarchy is now being challenged by something far more dangerous to the old order. BYD's new Atto 3 EVO arrives wearing the body of a practical family SUV, yet underneath it sits an 800-volt architecture all-wheel drive and up to 330 kilowatts of power, enough for 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.9 seconds. That matters because the standard Atto 3 was previously positioned as a sensible compact crossover. This is not a facelift, it is a class mutation, and if a mass-market commuter can now deliver supercar-adjacent launch performance, then the old pricing logic of global performance engineering is starting to crack. The original Atto 3 was never engineered to terrorize performance cars. It was built as a sensible front-driven compact EV with a 150 kilowatt motor and a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time of 7.3 seconds, quick enough for daily traffic, but nowhere near the violence required to threaten the old performance hierarchy. The new Atto 3 Evo Excellence changes that formula completely. BYD adds a second motor, pushes total output to 330 kilowatts and 560 newton meters, and cuts the sprint to 3.9 seconds. That is not an incremental gain. That is a mechanical identity change. And here is where the physics becomes brutal. You cannot simply pour that kind of output through the front axle of a compact crossover and expect clean acceleration. If all that force hit only the front tires, especially on a cold Michigan morning or a dusty Texas frontage road, the result would not be heroics. It would be wheel spin torque steer and a nose-heavy fight for traction. The faster EVs become, the more they expose a basic truth. Raw power is cheap, controlled power is expensive. So the real engineering leap here is not just the extra motor on the rear axle. It is the fact that the vehicle now has the architecture to divide traction instead of overwhelming it. The hardware creates the possibility. The control logic turns that possibility into speed. That is why this 3.9 second number matters more than the headline suggests. A launch like this is not just about horsepower. It is about how quickly the system can read available grip, how precisely it can apportion torque between front and rear, and how calmly it can do all of that before the driver even has time to react. In plain English, this is a commuter-shaped vehicle, doing the kind of launch work that used to require a specialized badge and a specialist budget. That is exactly why traditional automakers should be paying attention. Once mass-market SUVs begin to weaponize traction, this effectively performance stops being a luxury category and starts becoming a software-governed commodity. A 3.9-second launch is impressive for one reason. A family SUV surviving the heat that comes with it is impressive for a far more serious one. This is where the story stops being about bragging rights and becomes an engineering war. Because once you ask a compact crossover to deliver 330 kilowatts through an all-wheel drive system, the real enemy is no longer only traction. It is heat. Every violent power delivery event turns the electrical system into a battlefield of current resistance and temperature. And if that battlefield is not managed properly, performance becomes a one-time party trick instead of a repeatable capability. That is exactly why BYD did not leave the Atto 3 EVO on the old formula. The new model moves to an 800-volt E-Platform 3.0 with up to 330 kilowatts all-wheel drive and ultra-fast DC charging. The physics here is brutally simple. For the same power, higher voltage means lower current. Lower current means less resistive heating moving through the system. The earlier Atto 3 was built around a lower output front motor setup and a much slower charging profile. The new Atto 3 Evo steps to a 74.8 kilowatt-hour pack, an 800-volt electrical architecture, and dramatically faster charging. This is not just faster charging on a brochure. It signals a platform designed to move much more energy with much less thermal waste than the older mass-market setup. And BYD did not stop at voltage. The Atto 3 EVO keeps the blade battery with LFP chemistry and adds the thermal management logic needed to preserve performance and range under stress. That detail matters more than it sounds. In the real world, especially on a winter morning in Michigan, or a long interstate run with repeated fast charge stops, an EV's reputation is built not by its best run, but by how little it falls apart after the first one. So the deeper message of this 800-volt upgrade is not simply that the Atto 3 EVO is quicker. It is that BYD is trying to remove the traditional penalty that mass-market EVs pay when asked to behave like premium performance machines. That is how a commuter turns into a benchmark. This is where the romance ends and the engineering honesty begins. Straight-line speed in the EV era is no longer the rarest commodity. If you have enough battery output, enough inverter control, and enough traction, you can build shocking acceleration into almost anything. But turning that acceleration into something a real chassis can survive is far more difficult. The Atto 3 EVO is still at its core a family SUV. It is not magically transformed into a carbon tub exotic. That is exactly why its structure matters so much. BYD uses cell-to-body integration with the blade battery directly incorporated into the vehicle. In other words, the battery is no longer just weight being carried by the chassis. It becomes part of the chassis itself. That is one of the few credible ways to stop a practical crossover from feeling structurally overwhelmed when 330 kilowatts and 516 Newton meters hit the system all at once. The rest of the vehicle has to follow that same logic. The Atto 3 EVO uses a McPherson strut front setup and a more sophisticated rear arrangement to improve driving dynamics. That matters because once a daily driver starts launching to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.9 seconds, suspension is no longer there, only to protect comfort. It becomes part of the valence management system. It has to control, squat manage weight transfer, keep the contact patches stable, and prevent the car from feeling like a tall appliance with too much power. The same launch that looks impressive on a test sheet would become deeply ugly on real roads if the platform flexed, the rear axle got unsettled, or the steering lost composure under load. But this is also the point where restraint still matters. Nothing about this machine suggests it is a dedicated track weapon, and the numbers themselves tell you why. It is a compact family SUV with a 74.8 kilowatt-hour battery, usable cargo space, and a real-world utility mission, even as it borrows the launch performance of a much more specialized class. So the smartest way to read this vehicle is not as a Porsche killer in every environment. It is a structural and dynamic proof of concept evidence that mass-market EVs are beginning to absorb performance once reserved for premium badges, without abandoning practicality altogether. That is the truly disruptive part. Not that it does everything a sports car does, but that it now does enough of it to make the old price ladder look unstable. This is the moment where the story stops being about one unusually fast family SUV and starts becoming a problem for the global industry map. Because the real disruption is not only that the Atto 3 EVO can hit 100 kilometers per hour in 3.9 seconds with 330 kilowatts all-wheel drive, an 800-volt platform, and ultra-fast charging. The deeper disruption is that BYD is not presenting this as some exotic halo experiment. It is selling the vehicle through ordinary retail channels with mainstream market positioning, family use messaging, and broad regional rollout. That is how an engineering shock becomes an industrial shock. Once this kind of performance enters normal showroom traffic, the old excuse that advanced EV architecture must remain expensive starts to look less like physics and more like legacy and efficiency. And now we arrive at the question. American viewers always ask if this vehicle is effectively blocked from the US market. Why should Detroit care? Because tariffs do not erase benchmarks. This specific BYD may be kept off American roads, but its engineering logic is not kept out of the global comparison set. Ford, GM, Tesla, and every supplier tied to them still have to face a world where customers abroad can see mainstream EVs deliver premium-grade acceleration and next-generation charging without premium brand pricing logic. That is where the geopolitical pressure becomes economic pressure. Once a company scales this kind of platform across multiple regions, the threat is no longer one imported model. The threat is a cost structure, a supplier ecosystem, and a rate of iteration that legacy automakers may struggle to match. For American labor, that raises painful questions about how long tariff shelter can protect manufacturers if the underlying technology gap keeps widening. For investors, it raises an even harsher one. How much of today's valuation in legacy EV programs still assumes customers will keep paying tomorrow's prices for yesterday's architecture? The BYD Atto 3. EVO is not terrifying because it is perfect. It is terrifying because it destroys an old industrial assumption. For years, the market taught drivers to separate practicality from serious performance. One category was supposed to carry the family. Another was supposed to deliver the adrenaline. But BYD has now put all-wheel drive, an 800-volt platform, up to 330 kilowatts, 560 newton-meters ultra-fast charging, and a 3.9-second 0 to 100 kilometers per hour launch into a compact electric family SUV sold through normal retail channels. That is not just a new model. That is a new benchmark for what a mass-market vehicle is allowed to be. And that is why the real warning is larger than this one vehicle. This is not an isolated engineering flex. It is part of a larger scale and export strategy. When that scale begins to absorb premium-tier acceleration, fast-charging capability, and next-generation electrical architecture, the old hierarchy of performance starts to collapse from the bottom up. The danger to legacy automakers is not that every customer will suddenly abandon Ford, GM, Tesla, or the European brands tomorrow. The danger is that the global customer now has proof that high-speed, high-voltage EV capability no longer belongs exclusively to expensive nameplates. Once that idea becomes normal, the old pricing ladder becomes much harder to defend. That is the real shift here. Not the birth of a supercar, but the industrial democratization of supercar logic.